Before I tell you who this video is about, let me tell you a story. There was a child who never asked for anything, not because they were strong, but because they learned very early that their needs didn't matter. They were the child who stayed quiet during arguments, who ate alone while the house buzzed with everything except love, who learned to comfort themselves because no one else ever did. This is the story of children who grew up feeling unseen, children who weren't hit, humiliated, or abused, yet somehow still hurt the deepest. Today, we're diving into the psychology of the emotionally neglected child, why they grew up the way they did, why they love the way they do, and why even today as adults, they still feel unworthy of being cared for. If you've ever wondered why some people carry invisible wounds, wounds they never talk about, this video is for you. Emotional neglect is one of the most misunderstood childhood wounds because it leaves no bruises, no dramatic stories, no obvious scars, but it shapes everything: self-worth, confidence, relationships, and even how a person feels love. We'll explore 6 major psychological traits shared by emotionally neglected children, traits that follow them quietly into adulthood. They grow up believing that the safest version of themselves is the quietest one. They shrink themselves, their needs, their voice, their presence, not to cause trouble, not to be noticed, not to burden anyone. So they become excellent at disappearing. They don't ask for help. They don't demand attention. They don't express pain. Because in childhood, being invisible felt like survival. Most children learn emotions through guidance, a comforting hug, a validating voice, a parent who notices their struggle. But emotionally neglected children must learn alone. They wipe their own tears. They calm their own fears. They develop emotional independence before they even understand emotions. This makes them strong, but heartbreakingly lonely. When no one teaches you how to process emotions, you grow up not knowing what you feel or why you feel it. Emotionally neglected children become adults who say, "I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel empty. I don't know how to explain it." It's not emptiness. It's unexpressed emotion that never had a safe place to exist. To survive childhood, many emotionally neglected kids shut down their emotional system. They don't cry easily. They don't get angry. They don't react strongly. From the outside, they look calm, but on the inside, their emotional wiring is frozen. Still waters aren't always peaceful. Sometimes they're numbed. When love wasn't given freely in childhood, receiving it in adulthood feels foreign. A compliment feels uncomfortable. Affection feels suspicious. Kindness feels confusing. They're not rejecting love. They just don't recognize it. When a child grows up without emotional validation, they learn one heartbreaking belief: something must be wrong with me. So even as adults, they overthink every message. They apologize for existing. They chase love that feels out of reach. They settle for the bare minimum because they were trained to, not by cruelty, but by absence. If you saw yourself in these signs, remember this: you weren't neglected because you were unlovable. You were neglected because the people around you couldn't give what they never learned themselves. They were emotionally blind, not because your feelings were wrong, but because no one ever taught them how to see. Your needs were not the problem. Their limitations were. Your story didn't end in childhood. You are not trapped in the version of you that learned to stay quiet, to stay small, to survive. You can still learn to feel deeply without fear, to express without apologizing, to receive love without questioning it, to take up space without guilt, to be seen without shame. Healing doesn't erase the past, but it changes the direction of your future. It takes the old wounds and turns them into wisdom, strength, compassion, and most of all, it teaches you that your emotions have value, that your inner world is important, that your presence matters. Because it always did. Even when no one noticed. Even when no one showed up. Even when you had to raise yourself emotionally. You deserved care then. And you deserve love now. Your healing is not a miracle. It's a right.